Welcome to Thirsty Thursday. So I feel like I haven't been live in here in forever. It's only been a week, but I don't know. I feel like I've just been all over the place this whole last week. So I was in Virginia and then I was in Dallas for playoff hockey and baseball this week. So I feel like I'm totally all over the place, but we are back. We are here for Thirsty Thursday and I'm so freaking excited to talk to you guys again. Yeah? So let me get everything pulled up. Make sure that you say hi if you're here so that I know that you're here, and talk to me. So I feel like this topic is particularly super important. Not that other things are not important, but this is like one of the most important things that I ever talk about. So I'm really excited to dig in. Natalie, yeah, it does seem longer than a week, right? Okay, I'm glad it's not just me. I've been totally all over the place. So it's been forever. Cool. Okay, so this is kind of like I said, I feel like it's really important because I feel like this is the core message of like what I teach in general. So all of the things I'm always talking about lead back right here. This is it. This is the core. I want you to show up not just online, but specifically online, the way that you actually want to be seen. I want people to get it when you show up and talk, or when you write a post, or whenever you're doing literally anything related to your business. I want people to perceive you the way that you really are and the way that you want them to perceive you, right? So I think that's where a lot of the fear comes from. So especially like talking about online businesses, like people say they have the fear of like going live and doing live videos, or fears around, posting in other people's Facebook groups, or posting on your personal page because you're worried that like people are going to be annoyed or whatever it is. I really want us to like look at where those fears actually come from, because usually where they come from is that fear that we're not showing up the way that we really want to be seen, right? That we're gonna like put all this time and effort and energy into showing up and talking about our things, like stuff that we're really passionate about and that we really care about, and that people aren't gonna get it, right? That's usually what that fear is, that people are not gonna get it, that it's not going to translate the way that we want it to. And the easiest example, and where we get stuck a lot, is, just talking about like logos and colors, simple things like that. That's where most of us stay stuck at the very beginning, because it's like, I don't know what logo, or I don't know how to make a logo, or I don't know how to cram everything that I do as a business into one graphic that accurately represents me, or, one color or however many colors, or how to pick a font. That's how it manifests itself, that fear coming out. But whether it's, logos or anything like that, or the fear of going live, or the fear of whatever, it all comes back to this baseline fear of not being seen the way that we truly want to be seen, right? So that's what I want to talk about today. And if anybody has any questions, or like tell me how, if that feels true for you. Just type in like a yes if that's true for you. Or if you've never really thought about it from that perspective, that's okay too. That's why we do these videos, so that we can like think about things from all the different sides. But that's really like the core message of today. And what I want to focus on today is think through like all of your fears around showing up. Like what is the reason that you're staying stuck? Where are you like not doing the things that you really want to be doing, but you probably aren't doing, right? Like I feel like at least most of us probably in this group, and then in other business, if we've been in business already, and as long as we're not like brand new to the industry, for the most part, we kind of know what to do, right? Like online business itself is not like the most complicated thing in the world. It's like you show up, you talk about your thing, you say the right thing to the right person in the right place, and you make money, right? In theory, it's not that complicated, but we make it complicated, right? We make it hard, we make it complicated, because we get stuck on all of these different pieces and figuring out like which strategies to use, and how do we know if we should focus on Instagram or Facebook or Pinterest, or should we do live video, or should we write blog posts, or all of these things that keep us stuck. I feel like, tough love moment here. I feel like that's a way of distracting ourselves. Like, that's keeping us stuck in our comfort zone because we're not really digging into what the core issue is, and we're not figuring out what the actual problem is. So that's what I want us to do today. Like, this is going to be a short Thirsty Thursday because it really doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. And that's really my whole point of what I'm saying. We overthink and we make things so much more complicated when if we can just take a step back and like really dig into what is the actual core of the problem. Where am I stuck? And come up with a plan to overcome that, then all the other shit just gets so much easier. So much freaking easier, right? So let me read through the comments real quick. I saw a bunch of comments come in, which I'm so excited about. I love when you guys talk to me, so I'm not staring at myself on the screen. Lucy and Amy say hi, hello. Crystal, yes, so true. And Kayla, this is good. Thank you. Natalie and Lucy say yes. I overthink everything because I'm worried I'm not making sense to people. Exactly, Amy. Exactly. Yes. I'm afraid to talk too much. Okay, Lucy, talk too much. I don't think that's possible. I'll just throw that out there. I don't think it's possible to talk too much. So that's what the really important thing is. And it'll come up a little bit differently for everybody, right? Like what the actual core fear is. But it's all fear around not being seen the way that we want to be seen, right? Or having people think that we talk too much when we know that this is what needs to be said and this is how it needs to come out and this is the message that needs to be shared with the world, and we're so passionate about it. So I think there's definitely a difference there, and this is like my line for who I want to work with and who I don't want to work with, right? Like, I want to work with the people who know, like, I am here to do this. Like, I have this message to share. This is so, so important to me. Like, I want to make a difference, versus the people who are like, this is a business. I need to make money. Yeah, it's cool. I can do this or whatever. I'm really scared of live video, and it's not really worth it to me to dig into that fear. That's the type of person that I don't usually want to work with. I want to work with the person who is like, I know this is powerful. Like, I need to do this. I'm ready to figure this out. I want to show up and I want to be seen, even though it's scary. I'm ready to like figure out what that fear is. So I really want you guys to just like sit down, and if this stuff is coming up, try to dig into it. Like, sit with it for a minute and figure out where the fear is actually coming from. So like I said, for me, it was from like, I was terrified of live videos. I've told this story before. Like, the first live video I ever did, I did like shots of Jameson before because I was terrified to do it. So like that, it came out a lot that way for me, and it still comes out, and it definitely did more at the beginning with perfectionism. Like, I'm a huge perfectionist, but in reality, at the end of the day, all that is fear. Perfectionism at the end of the day is fear. I try to use it to my advantage, especially with design, because it makes me way better. But at the end of the day, it's feeling like everything has to be perfect because we're scared of what people are going to think if it's not, right? So really digging into that and where it's coming from, and then making a plan to overcome it. So knowing that about myself, now that I know where it's coming from, and it's this fear of perfectionism and feeling like I have to be perfect all the time, and like people are going to think I'm a giant idiot if there's a typo in all of my stuff, which today there was a typo on my Instagram post. Like, it happens. But really digging into where that fear is coming from, because you can't make a plan to overcome it until then, right? So like the live video thing specifically, I'll use that as an example because that's the one I hear the most often, is I'm scared to get on live video. I'm scared to be seen. So really dig into, where is that coming from? Is it like you're scared of making mistakes on live video, or you're scared of looking dumb, or you're scared people aren't going to be able to understand your accent? I have a couple of people who have said that to me, and I'm like, dude, it doesn't matter. Like, you have to show up at the end of the day. It really comes down to the decision that what's more important. Is it more important to like stay in your comfort zone and not share your message and not show up? Or is it more important to like stay stuck in the fear and stay stuck in general? So hopefully you pick the first one. It's more important to share your message and like really get out there and show up the way that you want to be seen. So that's my goal with my business. Every offer that I ever put out, any video I ever do, it all comes back to this. Like, what can we do to make sure that we are really, really confident showing up, because we know that we are talking and writing and making graphics and picking colors in a way that feels good to us and represents us, right? That's what my whole business is about. So it starts with this piece right here. It starts with, you have to figure out what the sticking point is, where you're stuck at all, if you want to make a plan to get past it, right? And it's so easy to skip that part. And I think a lot of people skip that part because that's the hard part, right? Like, we like to dig into like all these different strategies and, oh, I could be doing this and that, and shiny object syndrome, and it's easy to stay there. Yes, it's a problem. Like, it's hard to figure out what strategy, but in comparison, that's the easy part. Like, yeah, you pick something and you go with it and you figure it out, and you can learn tools, you can learn strategies, you can, learn different things from mentors. But the hard part is like doing the inner work, like figuring out where you're actually stuck and what you're going to do about it. That's the hard part. And that's where it has to start. Like, again, tough love thing here, but that's what separates the good brands, the amazing, awesome, powerful brands that create these really strong connections, from Joe Schmo over here with a business and they can't figure out why they're not getting any clients, even though they're doing everything the right way. They're doing what they're supposed to do. That's the difference. That's the line. Is the person over here with the kick-ass brand has stepped up and done the work and figured out what it is about them, not just the good stuff. Of course, we want to like bring out the good stuff and make sure we're talking about the good stuff, but also like, what are those fears? What are those sticking points? And be willing to like look deep enough to figure out what those things are and use them, like use them to make sure you're showing up the way you want to be seen. So like figuring out the work around whatever it is for you. Like, my example with live video again, it could be just freaking do it. That's what it ended up being for me. Like, get the F over it and just do it. And now it's like, now live video is my favorite. It's the easiest thing in the world because I don't have to do anything except show up and talk, right? But that was where I stayed stuck for a long time. So it could be something as simple as that, or it could be like, I'm stuck because I'm like terrified of this perfectionism thing, and I'm so worried that I'm having to be perfect all the time. Or another thing that like I stayed stuck on for a while, like I got to this point where I felt like I don't need any more strategy. Like, I know what I need to do. I just am not doing it. And I don't know why. I don't know why I'm stuck. I know what I'm supposed to be doing, but for whatever reason, I can't just like get over myself and do it. And I stayed stuck right there for a long time. So it ended up being like digging into those fears and doing that work. It can be like fear of success. And that's what it ended up being a little bit for me. Not like that I'm afraid to be successful, but like, what if this works and I get all these clients? And what if I'm not able to like deliver what I am promising them? Like, this is new for me. And it ended up being like something that you wouldn't normally think of like that. Like, it's not like that's a logical thing to come up, like, oh, I must be scared of it working and getting clients, right? You only get to those answers if you're willing to like stop and reflect and dig deep enough into what the actual issues are, right? So like I said, I'm sure it's different for every single one of us in here. Like, I'd say 90% of the people in this group that I have talked to have said, I don't like live video. I'm scared of live video. It's terrifying. But I bet if we dig into that issue, the actual fears underneath are different for every single person because they come from our experiences and our own biases and, things that have happened to us that make us fear that thing in the first place, right? Like, so yeah, that's my Thirsty Thursday for you guys. Like, be willing to do the work, not just the actual techie work, but like the real hard work. That's the foundational piece. That's where you create your business from, and then everything just builds on top of it from there. Otherwise, you can pick logos and colors and you can come up with strategies and you can design offers and you can do all these things, and some of it will work. It's not like you're going to fail miserably, but you're on this rocky foundation and you're never going to feel really good and really excited and really confident getting out there and promoting the crap out of your stuff if you still have these like fears tugging at you. Like, maybe you will go live on video, or maybe you will send emails and write blog posts, But the energy and the like passion that you need is always going to be like stuck until you work through this stuff. Does that make sense? Tell me if that makes sense, you guys. Because this is like I said, this is like the core of, this is what it all comes back to. This is the core of what I teach in literally everything. None of that other shit is going to work until you figure out like what you actually want to be doing and decide how you want to be seen. Do you want to show up as the powerful, amazing, badass that you are, that is capable of these huge, amazing transformations for your clients? Or do you want to show up as, you know, yes, I did it. I did it. It's out there. It's live in the world. I don't really feel great about it, but I did it. I checked the box. I feel like that's where a lot of us tend to stay stuck. Like, I know I should be doing these things, so I'm doing these things. And then we're like, why the F isn't this working? This is why. This is why. This is why. This is why. So hopefully we can all just like commit to ourselves that we're just going to like take, even if it's like 10 minutes, just sit down right now when this video is over, like 10 minutes. What am I most scared of right now that's keeping me from doing the things that I want to be doing, right? And I want to throw that in there too, because if you haven't ever done live video and you're like, I don't want to do it, I'm not even going to try, I would push you there and be like, yeah, you should try. You should at least try. Because there's a lot of things that I thought I would hate and then I ended up loving doing, right? But if you are at the place like you have been doing it, you have been trying, and you're like, I just hate live video, I'm a natural writer, it's my thing. You do like understand those balances too. Like you can make any strategy work. No one says you have to go live on video or you have to write blog posts or you have to be on Instagram. You can make any platform, any strategy work if your energy and your intention is put there and your passion is there and your you-ness is coming out. That's the goal. So figure out what it is that you really want to be doing. Like for me, that was that line. Like, yes, I was terrified of video, but I wanted it. Like that's how I wanted to show up, because I know that like, I just wanted it, even though I was scared. So think about like, what do you really want to be doing and what's really holding you back from that? Like even 10 minutes. If you go deeper than that, hell yeah, go deeper than that. But even 10 minutes, I think it will shock you what will come up when we just like sit with it. Sit with it for a minute, really think through it, really figure it out. So Thirsty Thursday, y'all. It's like deep shit today. Amy says, I'm so scared of lives, but afterwards I'm always happy with it. I just need to move through it. Yes, exactly. And that's what happens so much of the time, right? That happens like the majority of the time. It's like working out too. Like people always use that example when working out, like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym, but you're always happy that you did it afterwards. If that's the thing that's coming up, like that's a sign. Work on it more, work through it. But if you like get off live video and you're like, oh, I hated every second of that, and there wasn't anything positive, like maybe it's just not your thing, and that's okay. But really dig into it and look at those fears and make sure that that's true and you're not just taking the easy way out, right? That might be, I don't know, like I'm feeling like tough love today is coming out, but I'm totally fine with it. So, because it needs to be said, like make sure we're not taking the easy way out, because there are so many easy ways. There are so many things that like I can distract myself with with my website for, 3 more weeks and playing with the layout and the copy, and we can dig into all of that stuff. But in reality, the issues are over here. The sticking points are over here. So let's dig into that shit, because I want you guys to show up powerfully, like you want to be seen. Like I'm like making that like my new tagline, like show up the way that you actually want to be seen, and let people see you in the passion and the power and the energy that comes through naturally when you are just like in your zone, in your flow, in your like area of genius that you love being in. That's how you want to show up, and that's how people want to see you, and that's how you want them to see you, right? That's the goal. That's the goal. That's always the goal. Lucy, you accent. Yes, you're not the only one that said that to me though, Lucy. But like, you gotta keep in mind too, with a lot of this stuff, like we're only talking to our ideal clients, right? Our ideal clients are gonna love us for us. And that's a huge sticking point too. So that could be, part of these fears that come up, that people aren't going to get it. Well, make sure you're talking to the right people is step one. Like, who's not going to get it? And make sure that you're talking to people in the right places and bringing in the right people to you, right? So that's a huge part of it too. No one cares. Like, at the end of the day, I can't think of a single ideal client, if they're an actual ideal client, that's going to care if you have an accent, right? Like, I love your accent, Lucy. It doesn't freaking matter. As long as you're showing up from that place of passion and energy, right? Okay, Jillian says, I don't know what all I can say with so many posts, so many times I need to post or show up. Yeah, and that's hard too, Jillian. Like, figuring out, like, how to say it and when to say it and how many times to say it. And, you know, there's all these, like, again, statistics and analytics and things we can dig into that say, like, you know, people need to hear a message 7 times before it resonates. And, like, all this stuff. That's the surface level things. Like, we can dig into the analysis and try to figure it out and all of that stuff. But the first step is figuring out, like, okay, what do they need to hear? What do I need to be saying? And why am I not saying it? And then those decisions become so much easier. Then it's easier to say, like, okay, it makes sense to talk about this 10 times in my Facebook group. Or it makes sense to talk about this on Instagram and this over here. Really, like, that clarity and the answers come from taking action. Clarity and confidence and feeling really, really good about how we're showing up comes from doing the work, like digging in right now, digging into the deeper stuff, not the surface level stuff. The surface level stuff gets answered all on its own once we're clear, right? Tammy says the perfectionism thing is real for me. Me too. It always has been there. So like I said, I love talking about perfectionism because it did keep me stuck for so long. It kept me, you know, not making any progress. But at the same time, it makes me really effing good at design. It makes me really good at what I do. So it's figuring out how to take those bad things or those things that we struggle with and using them to our advantage, right? Like, we are human people. We have good things, we have bad things, we have strengths and we have weaknesses, and we can use all of it to our advantage. People don't expect us to be perfect, right? So figuring out what those weaknesses are or what those sticking points are help us, like, understand how to use them and how to use it to, whether it's like me where I said it makes me better at design, or whether it's just to be more relatable. Like, people want to talk to other people and humans. It's going to bring the right people to you. So even just, you know, storytelling, whatever it is, we use all of it. And we show up and get seen exactly as we are and have the right people love us for that reason, not in spite of it, right? Britt, are you talking to me? I'm talking to everybody. Crystal says it makes so much sense. Yes, that's why I'm in BBL too. Yes, Tammy. We are digging into some of this stuff right now in Brand Boldly Live too. I love it. Fear of looking incompetent is holding me back. Yes. I get it. So the next step then is like, okay, what do we do now? Now that we know this, now that we know what the sticking point is, like, how do we overcome that? So that's what we really dig into in Brand Boldly Live and all of the programs. But this is step 1. This is the part you do right now to figure out what the problem is. Amy, everything is a vibe. Yes, it is. Britt says, you know, I could dick around with my website for 3 more months. I think everybody could dick around with their websites forever. Like, I still, if I let myself go in there, I'll mess around with it forever too. Like, it's not that that's a bad thing. Like, it's fun. And like, for me, it's fun. Some people hate it and they don't want to go in there. But as long as we're not using that to avoid whatever the real problem is, like I did. That's what I did, is I stayed stuck and I avoided, you know, what I should be doing, like, really the deep work that I needed to figure out why I was staying stuck with, you know, all this silly things over here. So as long as we're not doing that, then play with your website all day long. I do. Okay, Lucy said thanks. Jillian says show up as if you want to be seen. Oh, there it is. Yes. Show up as you want to be seen. I really, like, that's going to be my new tagline for my Brand Boldly program. Hi, Eleanor. So glad you guys are here. Like, this one has been so much fun. Like I said, I could talk about this all day because this is really the core of everything. So that's Thirsty Thursday. I do have a new awesome thing to talk about just real quick before I hop off. I have a brand new way to work with me that I'm so effing excited about. Oh my gosh. I used to do intensives a lot, like a 2-hour intensive, and they're so good. I called them focus sessions. And really what we do is we dig into all these pieces that usually keep us stuck. Like once we do all this work and we figure out, oh, well, I'm not really clear on how to stand out. I'm not really clear on what it is about me that makes me different. I'm not clear on who I'm even talking to or who I want to work with in the first place or what to offer them or what to say to them. All of that stuff. That's what we dig into in these intensives. So they're super cool. It's like a deep dive into your business, like who you are, why you want to, like why you're passionate, into your industry, and like figuring out where you fit in and where you don't fit in and your opportunities to stand out, all the things about your ideal clients, all of the things about your offers, all of that stuff. So this new offer, this new thing that I'm doing, I'm so excited about it. It's like Intensive 2.0, and I don't even have a name for it yet. I haven't even come up with a name for it yet. I'm still calling it the old thing, which doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel powerful enough. So what this is now is it's like all of that amazing stuff I just said combined with like the assessment piece. So it's like an audit, more like an assessment. So what I'm doing is I am going through before we ever talk on this 2-hour amazing call and having like you fill out a form, tell me how you want to be seen. What do you want people to think? What do you want people to believe when they look at your stuff? How do you want them to feel? All of this really powerful stuff. Tell me this, and then I go look at everything and do like a quick assessment of how it's coming through. Is what you're wanting to come across coming across? And then we dig into all of the powerful, the 2-hour call, which is so amazing. They're my favorite things ever. I love doing those calls. I feel like I'm best friends with everybody by the time we get off of them. I just know everything about you. They're so fun. And then at the end, you get not only, the results from the 2-hour call, like my feedback on, okay, focus here first and then here, and then this is how you stand out, and this is, how you talk about your thing, all of that stuff. But it's also a complete audit of your whole business. So like figuring out what your financial goals are, and based on that, and based on, where you are right now and where you want to be, kind of reverse engineering this entire plan to get there. So it's the intensive, but like on steroids, right? So doing that, and then you get all these actionable strategies like do this, then this, then this, then this. And really, we've already done the work to like dig into what those fears are and what's keeping us stuck and how to not stay there, and coming up with that plan like I was just talking about, like coming up with the plan to overcome it and get through it. And then the implementation piece is huge for me. And that's really what caused me to like revamp this program in the first place. Because it was like, okay, we're best friends now. And I know everything about your business. And then here you go. Here's all this, magical booklet of how to go do it. And then you're on your own. And I don't like that. Like, I want to help. I want to be part of the implementation process and be there to support everyone on their journey there too. So now what it looks like is you get that back, and then you also get unlimited written support from me as well. So like email or Voxer or like voice message support too, so that you're actually going out and doing the things and implementing the things. And when these fears and this bullshit I was just talking about come back up again, we can talk through it and we can work through it. So that's my new offer. If anybody has any ideas on what to call it, I'm open to suggestions because I don't love the name right now, but I'm so freaking excited about this. So I'm going to put the link here in the comments. And if anybody has any questions or wants to hear more about it, I can't type while I'm talking. Sorry, guys. I think that's it. If anybody has any more questions, feel free to shoot me an email or send me a message or whatever you want to do. But I am so freaking excited for this, and it's going to be so helpful. Do you still do the intensives as well? Yeah, so the regular intensive is still part of it, Jillian. Like, it's in there. It's just added so much more value to it. It's added the audit part, and it's added the follow-up support and implementation part. So the core piece of it that made the intensive so awesome in the first place is still there. And all that information is also on the focus session, the focus session page that I put in there. That's the old name, but all of those details are in there too about what we actually dig into in that 2-hour call. So let me know if you guys have any questions on that. Intensives on steroids, yes. Yes, and Lucy, the archetype too. All the archetype stuff is on there. So when you take my quiz, you get your top primary archetype, but you are a human person and you don't fit into one little box. So we figure out what your top 3 archetypes are and how they show up in your business and how they work with you. Again, both the good side and the shadow side, or the the weaknesses, how we use all of those pieces to show up and connect with people. So super excited. Let me know if you have absolutely any questions. All the details are on that page right there that I put in the comments. It's not, oh, there, it let me pinned it. So now it's pinned, but feel free to shoot me any questions you have. You can send me an email or on Messenger or whatever it is. However you want to ask is totally fine with me. But I would love to have all of you in there if you wanted to do these. And I can't wait to talk to you guys again soon. I hope you all have a great night. Bye.